Cathy here from Eclectic Images, and thanks for joining me. So today I'm going to do another one working on the moonscapes that we touched on in the last video, something that I really enjoy, type of scene that I really enjoy doing. But this time, rather than using the gel plate, I'm going to do a smooshy background. And I'm going to do it using shimmer dust, which will be quite a strong look. So we're going to work with the owls as well and make it Christmassy with the pine branch. And I'll have a bit of a cough. But in the meantime, Matthew's looking at the owls, which is fine. And then we'll add in the pine branch. And I haven't decided yet whether to use a greeting stamp out of the Christmas Merry and Bright or out of the Christmas Merry and Bright Greetings, which is more the sayings. I'll see what fits best once we've done the rest of the designing. We'll be working with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne and the Rainforest ink pads, just double checking what's called Rainforest. And also in the Catherine Pooler, some Cove Blue and Juniper Mist. Working with the Dynamic Shimmer Dust. So these are the pigment powder that just explodes in colour when you add water to them. So it'll make a beautiful background. And then we'll do some shading with our brushes. I'll use a mixture of a blending brush and one of our green handle brushes, because that gives a very strong colour. And I'll also be using a aqua wash water brush and the Pentel black brush marker, because we're going to turn our owls not into full silhouettes but into a partial silhouette. Okay, so let's get playing. So to start with, I'm going to put the shimmer dust straight onto my glass mat, and then we're going to smoosh the card in. But I want to be able to have some of the card area lighter where the owls are going to go, and not over the whole area of where the moon's going to go. So I need to place the shimmer dust on my mat, sort of around the edges more, so that I can keep some lighter area in the middle. So I've got some peacock, and we're just going to tap that around a bit. And then I'm going to add in some, what colour did I grab? Oh, some Duke. Duke's a great blue. There's our pump taking off again. Don't know what it's up to tonight. So add in some Duke. So it doesn't look like you're putting much on at all, and you're actually not. You shake on the tiniest amount, which is where these little, so the shimmer dusts come in this sort of pot to start with, but I like to decant them into these little needle nose bottles because I can get a more accurate amount of colour coming out, and you need so little colour that it's really good to have that more control over it. If you're doing bits where you're just flicking colour on, you can open the pot and just dip a dry brush into it, but I do find that even the act of opening the pot often gets colour around, so I'm happy just to have it in my bottle and shake a little bit on. Okay, now let's make this dramatic. We'll start doing some spritzing with some water, and look at that colour just go and bleed and do wonderful things. We're then going to spritz our card that we're going to use and smoosh it into the colour. Now I may need to smoosh several times. I may get just the look I want first time. Let's see what we've got. Just get in underneath that card and lift it up. Oh, that's pretty good. Now if I've got any areas where I've got any solid lines, I could actually just spritz it with a bit more water, soften it off. We can just paper towel a bit of that back, see what we've got. I think I will add a bit more around this edge here. So we're just going to drag that in a bit and quickly spritz that edge so it doesn't go too hard. Let's give our card a bit of a spritz before we do another smush. Oh, that's a bit nice. It's a wonderful thing because you don't get the same look twice, so it's really cool. Now I'm just looking at that and thinking, is that enough? I do believe so. Now the other thing I'm going to spray it with is just a little bit of the Colour Blast mica dust, in a colour called Singing the Blues, that I've just put in a mister bottle with water, and then we'll just give that a spray, which will make the whole background metallic. Now if I was just doing this myself at home, and particularly for Christmas cards where I'm wanting to do quite a few cards, I would actually just put that one to one side to dry and make another couple of cards out of this. You could do 3 or 4 cards out of this one background. So I would keep playing with that, but at the moment we have to clean it up. It's a bit heartbreaking, really, isn't it? all that beautiful colour. But you saw how little of the product I used to get that amount of dramatic colour. So yeah, you can do wonderful backgrounds with them because the colour is so strong. Okay, now we'll bring in our scratch pad to do some shading on and some stamping. And I have already done a background and dried that off so that it would be ready for us to play with straight away. So I'm feeling that my moon is going to go up in this lighter area, and I think the owls will fit nicely just along the bottom of that. So I'm going to stamp them in place first so I can work my card around them. So let's pop them in here. Now I want them so that the edge of the branch just takes off over the edge of the page. And while I've got them there, let me just have a quick look at some of my Christmas sayings and see whether I'm going to pop one in below or beside or above. Oh, above could work. Okay. So now I'm happy, seeing that I've got space there to put my greeting in, I'm happy to pick up my owls, ink them up with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. Give ourselves a press. Now if you haven't seen these used, this is called a Stamp Baron tool. So it just helps you give that little bit more pressure. It's got quite a bit of weight to it, so it helps give a little bit more pressure on the stamp. And I do believe that is stamped nice and clearly. So let's just clean our stamp and take it off the stamp press so we can use the stamp press again for something else. I probably will use it when I come in to do the greeting because I really want to get that in just the right spot. So let's pop that to one side. Now we can put our moon mask in place and do a bit of shading around it. So I'll use the Cove Blue to start with and start off on the mask and then work out from there. And trying not to go over the owls. So I'm just going to spin that around. So I want to come down almost to the top of the owl, but not quite getting him. And if I want to, I can just lift that up and see that it is having an effect, and it is. How dramatic. Now we'll just go straight to, rather because I've got that other background colour, I don't need to build up more background colour with the Cove Blue. So I'm going to switch straight to the Juniper Mist and doing some edging. I was going to use the pine branch. I think I still will, but I had planned to use it in the Rainforest Green, but I'm actually changing my mind and thinking I might do it in Juniper Mist, or if I had the colour with me in the VersaFine Clair, I could use Twilight, would give me a good dark blue as well. But because I've got Juniper Mist here, I think I'm going to just stamp with that actually. Okay, so grab the pine needle stamp. And before I actually ink it up, I'm just going to look at where I might put it. So you might have it sort of coming in across the moon there a bit, and maybe a little bit coming up underneath so that it looks like the owls are well and truly up in the air. So let's just ink up this side to start with. Now, because I'm using a dye ink for this, and also I'll probably stamp the greeting in the same ink, it is important that we've done our spritzing with the metallic ink first. So I did this background the same as the one I just did in front of you where I smooshed it in the shimmer dust first and then spritzed it with the metallic spray and then left it to dry. If I was to stamp the pine branch and the greeting in the Catherine Pooler ink and then spritz it with the metallic, these inks would bleed. The black won't because it's the VersaFine Nocturne, but the colours would bleed. Am I happy with that? And if I'm not, without the stamp press, can I line it up again? Let's have a look. What I might do is just pull the stamp back a little bit and do another image there. I was talking too much and wasn't pushing enough, was I? That's better. That's filled it in a bit more. Now we're going to use a little bit coming up as well. So let's ink up the other side of the stamp. Make sure I give it a good push down this time. And then if I'm putting the greeting over the other side, do we need a little bit of extra inking as well, or is that going to be enough for our card? Maybe just a little hint on the other side to balance it. Let's have a look at our pine branch. What can we pop in there? Just so a little bit of those fronds on the edge there, I think. Sometimes you don't know what your card needs until it's developing and you look at it. So often I'm not quite sure where something's going until it's halfway there. Yes, that's more balanced. So now just give that stamp a bit of a clean, just on a kitchen sponge. Pop into one side and let's look at popping our greeting in. So this time back to the stamp press because I do not want to muck this bit up. Lined it up with one of the points on the grid there. That way, if the card moves at all, I can line it up with that same spot. So I've lined up with the number 2 and grab our greeting. Well, that's going to look quite nice with the words starting over the moon as well. But as I lay it on the grid, I can just check that I'm looking fairly straight. Again, it's such a wobbly text. It's a bit hard to tell, but I think I'm straight. Okay, let's ink that up. Give it a good press. Now, this is actually the first time this stamp's been used, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's a little bit, if it hasn't taken the ink completely in a few spots. So we'll just give that a second stamping. I should have conditioned it before, stamped it out a couple of times first just to condition it. But I suddenly went, oh, that'll fit. That's better. Have a magical and blissful Christmas. Okay, but we're not there with this card yet. We have got some other bits to add. So, as I said, we're going to turn the owls into a bit of a silhouette, but without them being a full silhouette. So I recently did one YouTube with the cat. Let me just reach over and grab that one in. So here I coloured him in completely with the brush marker and turned an outline image into a silhouette. With the owls though, I'm going to still use the Pentel black brush marker, but just darken the owls off without totally silhouetting them. So we'll put lots of the black in, but then I'm just going to use my water brush just to sort of fade it in a bit. And I will need a bit of paper towel next to me just to clean that off. Now I'm thinking that I could leave a lighter bit on that side so that it's the highlight of where the moonlight is reaching in. So let's pick it up and shade it over this side. And I want to leave his eyes still quite bright. So go around the eyes. But let's have it fading off to almost nothing on this edge where the moonlight's hitting. That's not quite even, so I'm just going to play with it a little bit more. Let's take a bit of colour out of there and push it around that side instead. How's that settling in? Now you may find, because you're using water, you may find that you pick up a little bit of odd bits of blue, and that's from the shimmer dust underneath, which is all just a part of the process. So you could get some interesting colours happening. So we're still making these little fellas quite dark, but we're just not making them a full silhouette. Push that one back a little bit. I brought a bit too much dark forward then. So I just cleaned my brush and pushed it back a bit. Let's just lift it out, push it back a little bit. So almost a silhouette, but not quite. Dragging it in one direction. If it's too much, push it back again. Oh, nearly lost his eye there. That doesn't sound nice, does it? Just going over that again just to make that a bit more even. It's looking a little bit patchy. Okay. And that's about it. Unless we wanted to add in a bit of glitter or something, I think that's probably enough. How cute's that? And pretty easy to do. I'm still thinking, do I add a little bit of glitter or not? As I get out the silver glitter. So we can actually just add in a little bit of highlight on that side where the moonlight's hitting them. Just a touch. So partly I'm squeezing, partly I'm dragging the nozzle along so we get a bit of a line, but also a little bit softened off to the end of it so it's not a solid edge of glitter. That's pretty special, isn't it? I was thinking of doing their eyes as well, but it might be a little bit much. What I might do is just add a few little moonlight glints in the tree. And there, I think we have our card. Oh, I like that. Except the little owl is settling into a light and a dark area. So I'm just going to smooth over that a little bit with the water brush. Just break up that edge a little bit. There we go. Okay, he should look gorgeous once he's dried. Now I'm just going to move the card forward onto the dark tablecloth so that we can get a better look at it. Matthew will come in with a focus on how beautiful they are. So how cool is that background? It's quite strong with the shimmer dust, but it's got a really nice mottliness to it. And really, really effective. So I hope you like that one. I hope you'll have a play with your shimmer dust. And if not, if you haven't got any, well, we can help you out with that. So all the products I'm using are available on our website. And I hope you get some tools and have a play. Look at your stamps, see what you could make turn into a scene, and get smushing. Okay, we'll see you again next time for another look on this sort of scene series. Okay, thanks for watching.